Alright everyone, now we have to talk about some more shenanigans, specifically dealing with Mike Pence skating in involvement with the classified documents that were found at his home. Now, there's some apples to oranges comparisons with the older case, which was the Mar-a-Lago raid. For one thing, Pence wasn't raided. Pence decided, out of an abundance of caution, to look through all of his personal effects to make sure there was nothing that he wasn't supposed to have there once Trump got raided, and Biden's lawyers did too, finding documents in numerous locations, quite a few of them. Although Trump is being hyperbolic when he talks about, I think, 800 crates of documents or something like that, it is quite a haul with Biden. And of course, Biden, at the time that he took some of them, wasn't even an executive. He just took his homework home as a senator, then as VP, apparently had other documents he obtained as a private citizen somehow, breaking the law in the process legitimately because he does not have declassification powers at the time that he took those documents home with him. The same is true of Mike Pence's documents. A vice president has to go through a different process from a president with regards to certain types of classified material. The president can unilaterally declare it declassified. Therefore, the idea is that the president of the United States is chief executive, and this is the legal argument that Trump will end up having to use when they inevitably call him in on the Mar-a-Lago case. When they indict him for that probably, or at the very least take more testimony, here's what he should say. The President of the United States has to conduct diplomacy with allies on a regular basis. There's a lot of data sharing that goes on. Some of that material is classified. If everything that the President said to an allied diplomat or head of state was subject to the purview of classification rules, every president for the last 100 years would probably have been thrown in a jail cell for treason. Because they have no choice but to talk about these things. And they do not have to go through a physical process of declaring something declassified and signing the paperwork either. It would be too tedious. Because they might very well inadvertently say something about something classified, even without knowing the classified material exists, in the course of a totally normal conversation. About military affairs, diplomatic affairs, energy tech, whatever. I've noticed that Sam Brinton had access to top secret energy stuff. He's a kleptomaniac. Maybe we should be looking more and worrying more about that as opposed to the Mar-a-Lago and stuff. Now, does the vice president need that capability? No. The vice president is not the chief diplomat of the United States. The argument can be made for the vice president potentially having that ability, but it's not so remarkable. The threshold is different. The kind of material they would have access to being potentially different as well. The VP, it's not necessary for them to go through the top secret military documents on a regular basis, although they do get briefings containing classified material. Again, that's the other part. Don't you think that those briefings that involve generals and shit also involve classified material? If you had to go through and have the president sign their signature off on every goddamn page of paper that they encountered that was classified, that they may bring up in a conversation with a foreign dignitary, that would be their job. Their entire job would be scribbling their signature 2,000 times a day while talking to Macron. And so it can't happen. Mike Pence, though, does not necessarily have the authority to declass these documents. Nonetheless, what has happened? They've dropped any possible charges against Pence and closed it. They said, oh, well, we've got the documents, everything's fine. Now, no further checking, no second guessing, no late night raid, no give testimony, nothing, literally nothing. He did more than what Trump did. Yes, fewer documents, but without the purview to actually declass them. And as usual, he goes scot-free. Oh, isn't that lovely? Oh, by the way, what coincidental timing. Seeing as how Mike Pence literally next week is expected to announce a presidential campaign. Well, this clears him of a real big problem right before he happens to announce. Again, I smell so many rats right now in the political world, it's like being on a fucking plague ship. Mike Pence, clearly there's a reason, clearly there's a connection in the timing here. Any doofus could see that it's not a coincidence. Now, am I not the only one that can see this for what it is, as being non-coincidental timing? At least, they're not even giving the public credit at this point. Yeah, coincidence my ass. And some of the liberals are actually claiming, oh, well, it's good timing for Mike Pence. Maybe he stands a chance in the primaries after all. I don't think so. They're definitely trying to sanitize him for a reason, but no, I don't think so. Maybe it's so that Mike Pence can attack Trump about the Mar-a-Lago documents or something like that more plausibly. Yeah, a lot of good that's going to do. Mike Pence and his 3% in aggregated polling, if he gets a bump, he'll be at 4. Considering what little bump DeSantis apparently got, they're not going anywhere right now. Basically, they're all in a holding pattern, fundraising, and not, by the way, ballot harvesting, which is goddamn stupid, and waiting for Trump to be in jail. That's basically their campaign platform right now. That's why there are so many GOP candidates, despite having a technical incumbent ahead by 30 points in the packed field. They're there because some of them want to sell books and the rest are waiting to see what happens and saying, well, in the off chance that Trump is nullified in his capability of running like Congress acts, well, I'll be actually viable all of a sudden. Although I'll warn people of something. If Trump does get disqualified from running for public office, if they change the law in order to make that happen, like the Unipartyists join with the liberals to just say no to Trump, and they rob people of their democratic right to say yes to Trump, he probably wins the nomination anyway, and you'll end up with the messiest election in U.S. history. Oh, it'll be fun. Some people will be complaining it's going to lead to civil war. I'm going to complain that it's going to lead to a lot of shitposting, meme making, and fucking streaming, actually. I don't think people really want to take up the old musket quite yet. I think for many people it'll be more amusing than anything else. It's grave humor. It's sort of, chuckling while Rome burns, but, what else are you going to fucking do? And then the glowies will come in and say, well, kid, there is something that you can do. And come to the back of my van. I've got some interesting stuff to show you. Totally under the table. Don't mind the cameras, by the way, kid. Those are just to deter thieves. Don't worry. I'll make sure to delete the part where you buy the pipe bombs. Come on. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Mike Pence. Squeaky clean. Absolutely perfect document keeping in his home. Why did he have him in the fucking first place? He's not supposed to have anything like that. He's never been president of the United States. He doesn't have to take his homework with him. The vice president doesn't even get a permanent Secret Service detail after they leave office like presidents do. Why do you think that is? Because they're less valuable than the president. They've had fewer briefings, less access to the top secret stuff. So if some crazy terrorist group abducts them, they're going to get less info out of them. And much less of a ransom, by the way, potentially. And so Mike Pence skates and Donald Trump, they're still looking through those documents, including documents such as Time magazine covers in their frames, personal letters that they don't have classified headers. Why the fuck would they? They'll be personal letters from presidents and shit end up in public record all the time. They end up in presidential libraries, get turned into books and things like that. And Melania's underwear. Wow, that's it's totally compelling. What about that Iran document that he bragged about on tape? Who gives a fucking goddamn shit? Apparently his Secretary of State and others were involved in concocting such a cockamamie plan along with General Milley. And so it didn't go forward. It didn't happen. It's not like we're exactly a friend of Iran. It's not like they don't fucking know that we have plans to invade them at any given point at the drop of a hat. It's just that if General Milley had handed that plan to a President Hillary Clinton, she would have said, oh, press the little red button. This sounds fun. I got to show that I'm one of the boys after all. People will think I'm weak if I don't start a war because I'm the first female president. I can't let that happen. I'm going to show them just how fucking genocidal I can be. And she would have killed 500,000, 2 million people, something like that. Should be the next Pol Pot, basically. That's about all. Peace out.